All right, hey, welcome back to another episode of Tripp Smokepit. Friggin' tonight, we're talking to DD214 Memes. They run one of my more favorite meme channels on Instagram and Facebook on all the like. How you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good. How about yourself, dude?
Oh, dude, not too bad at all. Friggin' I usually start drinking before the show, but I didn't until like a minute ago, so I'm still on beer one. So
I got a little bit of whiskey, and then I've been veteran with a sign put me onto this kill cliff. I've been giving it a shot. It's pretty dope.
What kind of whiskey?
It's one of my friends got it for me. It's called Writer's Tears. Very dramatic, but it's really good Irish whiskey.
Really?
I'm saving it, yeah.
Said Writer's Tears.
Yeah.
Huh. That's not trying to get into a niche market or anything.
I mean,
like, hey,
I feel like it's yeah. I feel like with a lot of people that get into writing, especially like comedy, that kind of applies where it's like a lot of the people who are really into that type of thing. It's kind of like whether it's directly related or not, it's kind of like a mode or like form of expression they used to kind of like turn that type of any type of thing you're going through into something that people enjoy. It's pretty neat. So it kind of fits.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that substance abuse is a thing. Not in a bad way, but like there's stereotypes, right? Like if you're a writer, you're expected to be an alcoholic. If you play jazz, you're expected to do heroin. If you're a rock star, hey, here's your cocaine, buddy. What's the contraband for meme makers though?
I feel like in a weird sense, it's kind of like the memes, because like it kind of gets to a point where I don't know. I feel like your average everyday person, they just like see what's going on with the world, and like they see like, okay, the Suez Canal got blocked by the ship. There's a bunch of memes about that now.
Yeah.
But then the people who are like making all these memes are like fucking balls deep in Reddit, like into all these different areas, like trying to get the freshest meme template or trying to figure out what's popping next so they can make some fire meme. And it's like almost becomes some crazy addiction to try and figure out like what's going on next.
Well, you got to get up early in the morning to farm those memes.
Yeah. And of course, I gotta say, like, just drinking in general has, for me personally, getting like fucking hammered with one of my buddies and like just fucking around at Call of Duty like 2 a.m. has produced some of like the funniest jokes ever. Like waking up the next morning and thankfully I've written something down. I'm like, oh my God, that's gold. I never would have came up with that sober.
Yeah, no, I have a problem with that. Or like I text it to people thinking, because like I have a notes, or you have the notes section in your phone, but I forget it's there unless I want to write something down. Never go back to like actually look for it. So I figure if I text it to somebody when I wake up in the morning, I'll get a text that says, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah.
Sorry, you're a part of my experiment.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean that and you were in the Marines too, right?
Yeah. I was a tracks guy.
Yeah, fucking alcoholic.
Dude, it's pretty funny. The guy that put me onto your book and kind of your content in general, one of my really good buddies I was in high school with, we were some of those motivators that did the JROTC program together.
That's fun.
And then we both joined the Marine Corps, and he, like to this day, I've known this guy for well over a decade. He's like one of my best buddies, and he's pretty similar to you. I feel like you guys would be like, you guys could drink it and smoke it up and have like a crazy like TikTok fueled binge some night or something. But yeah, he's the guy that put me onto your book. He was telling me about your book, and I'm not usually super big on like fiction type material. I actually pretty recently started getting back into reading.
Yeah.
But so he was telling me about it. I was like, all right, I'll check this out. And then I was like, I read your book and it was fucking awesome. I loved it. And but it's really cool because that guy for me is like, he's the guy that I'll text like drunk at 3 a.m, like, here's my idea, don't let me forget it, or like something like that. Like he's kind of like almost the guy behind the scenes on my page that helps me come up with a lot of the
is that really
stuff.
just you, or is it like you and like I guess like tier 2 guys that just send you stuff?
So it's mostly just me doing it all, but like I said, I have like my buddy who sometimes he's kind of like if I need some inspiration, or like he'll come up with some good stuff. Like he's been kind of, he knew I was running the page since the beginning, so I'm the only one that's really doing anything, but then like people will send in like crazy shit, like videos and then doing crazy shit in the barracks, and I'll post that. Or like sometimes people will send memes and stuff that I think are hilarious and I'll repost them. But yeah, for the most part, it's all me.
Yeah, people send me memes thinking I'm a meme page for some reason. I'm like, I just like give it the laugh face and scroll on. But
yeah, well, you literally are like in every single area there is, almost. Like you're doing books, music, TikToks, YouTube, like you're doing it all. So I feel like you could get away with posting memes too.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, I don't want to say like I know that like I'm not consistent on my page at all, but I would like it at least to stay me stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I try like I'll post memes up in the stories, and then I'll put a bunch of memes on my Facebook page, but not so much on Instagram, because I don't want people to like get used to that and then like me go back to like doing book shit and like what's this? Where are the fucking memes? Because people will follow shit for memes and then like fuck off as soon as you change your fucking attitude on it. Not attitude on it, but I guess platform, medium.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how, I mean, in a sense, you kind of want to do what works and what's been working for a while. But I've noticed like kind of branching out into new areas. Like I never thought I'd start like doing music or cartoons or anything like that when I first started my page. But
yeah, you did the Rickroll thing, right?
Yeah, I did the Rickroll thing. I started doing a bunch of cartoons, and dude, the first like I'm not really artistically inclined. So the first idea of coming up with a cartoon, I sent it to my buddy, and I was like, okay, I know this is like absolute dog shit as far as art, but is it at least funny? And he was like, nah, this isn't funny, dude. This sucks. I was like, all right, thanks for being honest with me.
Though.
Yeah,
Dude, that rocks, and you put it out there. Like, you fucking idiot, why'd you post this?
Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And then it took me like a couple months, and I was like, I think I can do it. I just need to try it again. And I tried it again, and it's still really shitty, like art wise, but at least the joke was funny this time.
Yeah.
And then it kind of took off from there. And then going into new directions. I mean, some people weren't a fan of it, but I don't know, when you kind of find something that you're like, okay, I got this like new thing that's I think is a good direction to go in. I think that most of the time the people who come in for the new stuff outpace the people who are like, oh, what are you doing? Why aren't you posting the old stuff?
I guess that's fair, because I mean, if you've watched other, I guess like veteran influencers, I'm putting that in fucking really heavy fucking quotations, like say like a combat veteran or fucking like John Burke or something, like they fucking swig and swag all over the damn place and they only go up. So got a point.
Yeah, it's interesting trying to navigate the internet. I don't even know what to call it, really, especially with the military community is really different.
Yeah,
like a lot of other online communities where like it doesn't seem to me like a lot of like random like run-of-the-mill meme pages are like in this giant network with each other, but with the military community, like it's a huge giant web of like all the influencers and meme pages and all that sort of thing where everyone's connected and talking and working with each other.
Yeah, and at the very least, it seems like everybody or every big page knows at least 2 or 3 other people in that network. Like, excuse me, like you and TikTok boots, right?
Yeah.
And I have no idea who the fuck they are, but I think that shit's fucking. It's weird because they don't come up with any of their own shit. You know, it's just like, hey, I saw TikTok.
Dude, and what's crazy is every now and then he'll post some memes that he's made. Yeah. And like, yeah, he posts TikToks all the time, but that dude is a fucking god at making memes. He's fucking hilarious. Yeah, and sometimes like me and him will go back and forth, and we'll like kind of challenge each other. We'll come up with some like random template that like we've never seen before, and we're like, go make a meme right now. And then like one of us, whoever gets it, you have to make a meme real fast, and then like he'll send me back another template. He's like, all right, now it's your turn to go. And sometimes we won't even post him. We'll just like play like a tag where we're like trying to fucking see like if I can find a template that you can't come up with a joke for. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Do you ever miss the days when memes were like you had 5 pictures and then you use the words?
There was I think like sometime last year, me and Disgruntled Docs were actually talking about like way back in like 2011, 2012 when it was like the troll face meme, the Willy Wonka picture, and like 2 other pictures, and we were like reminiscing about the days of old and the origins of what we have nowadays. And so we just like all day long we started like shit posting, like we made our own 2010 era like Facebook boomer memes, and people were like, what the fuck is going on? But we didn't even give a shit. We were just having a ball with it, because it's like it's
the best, because shit posting doesn't even have to be good. Just
absolutely, the volume is kind of like makes up for lack of quality in some senses.
It's like modern art, except for I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's almost like a back in like the 2010 era when like the anti jokes came out, like, oh, what's green and has wheels? Grass. I lied about the wheels. Like, I feel like memes are kind of that way with as far as like modern art, where it's in a sense it's really retarded like shit posting. But if you look at, I mean, maybe I'm not like super well rounded in the whole like art field, but I feel like looking around, like you're not seeing a whole lot that's popping out that's really breaking a lot of ground as far as artistically. Like, I think the only artist I could really name that's really big would be like Banksy, whereas,
and he's graffiti. So
yeah, he's graffiti.
Like alt culture.
We don't have like people painting the Sistine Chapel and everyone marveling at that type of thing, but we have these autists on Instagram and Reddit that are coming up with these ridiculous pictures and videos that are influencing culture in a really drastic way.
Well, I mean, I think that's good though. At least that Instagram exists like that, because the art world itself is extremely fucking snootish, and like a lot of stuff that goes up in everything that goes up in museums, and then most stuff that goes up into like not all galleries, but galleries that don't get you anywhere. You either have to be like a member of like a society or like a group or some shit, or you have to make like a charitable contribution, or if they're feeling nice, they'll have a contest that you have to pay like a couple $100 to get into. So it's that gatekeeping is fucking welded shut. So like it's good that there's like Instagram or fucking Facebook before that, you know, that kind of shit where people can say, hey, look, I have stuff, look at it. I don't feel like fucking hanging out with these fucking schnobs in fucking New York and, you know, ripping my fucking my fucking goddamn pockets out just so somebody might look at it for a second, you know?
Yeah, I feel like that type of structure is almost, it's like counterintuitive to like what art and creativity should be. Like trying to force it into some like cookie cutter system, kind of like they've done with like pop music nowadays. It really stifles, like, I mean, you have to challenge what people's idea of greatness is, or what is good. Like, you kind of have to play with it a little bit and figure out, you know, what works and what doesn't. And if you're just trying to make whatever you make in line with the people at the top are doing, you're not gonna do a whole lot. You're just gonna be making mediocre copies of whatever's popular.
Yeah. You know what's funny though is that's kind of how what we would call modern art started. Like there's this thing called Duchamp's fountain, but I'm sure you've heard it, where it's just literally a fucking toilet. It's like literally it's just a urinal that they put on a fucking pedestal in a museum, and like everybody like hails it as this like giant piece of modern art.
Oh yeah.
But like it's one of those things where like if you look at it without knowing what it is, it's like, why the fuck would you put this in a museum? You people are fucking stupid. This is not art. This is literally just a toilet.
Yeah.
But the backstory to that was there was a group of artists in New York or Philadelphia or some shit like in the early 1900s. And to get art into that like wing of the museum, you had to be part of like whatever group. But if you were part of that group, they weren't allowed to tell you no for anything. So you could put up whatever you want. So like this one dude like tried to get in, and they're like, nah, listen, what you're doing is not real art. And like the dude was actually a really good painter. His like technical stuff looked almost photorealistic, but most of his stuff kind of looked like that square Picasso shit, just because that's what he liked to do. But he kind of like, fucking like did what the art society wanted him to do until he like got to the top of the fucking totem pole of the plebes to like get into like the group. And then the first thing he did when he's in the group, he's like, here's a fucking picture right in the middle of the fucking thing that we're not putting that up. It's like, no, see, I'm part of this group now. You have to. And then, which is great, epic fucking trolling. But dude, because of that, now we have just like, I'm gonna like dunk my dog in paint and throw it at the canvas and then shit on it, and then that's art now.
Yeah, it's man, that's wild. That's hilarious. I love hearing stories like that where you kind of have to go against the grain, but you have to do it in a way that I feel like that's kind of like a reflection of a lot of the people who really hate how they hate the bureaucracy and the shitbag leaders, and they play the game until they get to a point where they kind of have a little bit of weight to swing around, and then they're like, yeah, we're changing everything up in this bitch. We're doing this my way. Fuck the way that old staff sergeant said we're doing it. We're gonna do some, and then we're just gonna get like ridiculous with it because I feel like it.
Yeah. The thing about that though is like most of the people that like actually give a shit get out because, well, you know what? I'm gonna go get like a job and not
make some money.
Wake up at fucking 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Get a house. Not live in 29 Palms would be cool. Although I like 29 Palms, but most people don't.
Yeah, it's one of the really frustrating things about the direction. At least I can only really speak to the Marine Corps, but it seems like that's kind of like the military in general, where you're like when you're a fucking boot and you have like your set of corporals, like obviously like some of them are going to be way on the top end and some of them are going to be on the bottom, and the guys who are like, you're like, okay, this guy should really be leading a platoon. He's got his stuff together. He knows what he's doing. They're always the dudes that get out. And then the dudes who you're like, this guy would fucking, if you could forget how to breathe, he would have forgotten how to breathe. Like before he graduated high school, they're the ones that are like, yeah, I'm going to re-enlist. I'm going to stay in. I'm going to make the Marine Corps better place. And you're like, oh man. And then you kind of see, like, once you get up there too, you see it with your peers where you're like, all right, me and my boys, like some of us know what's up. Some of us were like, okay, we got to tell the boots, like if Corporal so-and-so tells you to do something, you come verify with us before you go do what he says, because he's a corporal, but he's a numbnuts. And that's the guy that always ends up re-enlisting. And it's like, not only does that like create more issues in the future, and it just kind of compounds as every generation goes on, but you see like all the potential for the dudes who could stay in and make things a lot better, and they're always fuck that, I'm getting out. It's like our strategy is kind of failing us to, if we really are trying to improve in any fashion, we're not doing taking measures to target those guys who would be staying in and making things actually better and more efficient.
Right. But I mean, the other thing that goes into that though is at the end of the day, it is still a government job. And if you're trying to figure out a problem or a solution to a problem with anything related to the government, but especially in the military, especially in the lower enlisted parts of it, if what you want to do in any way, shape, or form is logical or makes sense, it's not going to fucking happen. And if you're trying to figure out why something's going on, if you remove that like expectational logic out of it, that's when it'll start fucking coming together, which is stupid, but
anything that goes against the grain is pretty much it. I don't know. It's weird because then you get the new PT uniform proposal where you're like, okay, who even asked for that? Who even asked for this absolute abomination? Like, there's all these things on the table that are being talked about that are like for daily discussions for a very long time now, and you're like, let's make a really bad PT uniform because that's what's gonna really change things around here.
Yeah, and like most of the time, like I'm not one of the naysayers that'll say if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because like if that was the case, like nobody would ever fucking improve anything. But like there are some things that are just like the PT fucking uniform. It's like that wasn't even a fucking thought. Like
Yeah,
there's
like
actual shit.
yeah, there's you gotta be able to prioritize things, but I don't know if it's hard to say. There's a lot of contributing factors, whether it's a lot of the issues at the like troop and NCO level that kind of get filtered through the yes man leaders channels before they reach the top.
Yeah.
Or if it's just the dudes at the top who don't give a shit because they're trying to come up with some stuff to tack their resume on so they can be a politician, where it's like there's a lot of really important things that at least there should be some sort of discussion, but instead it's like some dumb shit like let's make basketball shorts happen.
Yeah, no, that and one of the other things I think is funny about that is, you know how like you'll hear about like X amount of troops do this or X amount of troops think this or X amount of troops do that or whatever. It's like, okay, I was in the Marine Corps for 12 years. Not once did anybody ever fucking ask me a goddamn thing. So like, where the fuck are you guys getting your fucking numbers from?
Yeah.
And which are you asking the troops or are you asking like 5 flag officers at the Pentagon?
Yeah. Well, and it could be totally different for different units. I mean, it's you kind of get the blanket like general like military and Marine Corps experience, but certain communities are so vastly different than others. I mean, even like branches, like we're all in the military, but I have a bunch of buddies in the Army and in the Navy where like even when I was spending time on ship, and I did that pretty regularly, like seeing like how different some things are, where you're like, okay, this might be a totally normal thing for you guys, and it seems totally radical for us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Navy's all kinds of fucking weird. Like even just with like their fucking rank structure, to where like even like you know in the Marine Corps, if you're an E6, you're a staff sergeant, like don't fuck with that guy.
Yeah.
In the Navy, you're an E6. You might as well be a fucking fresh boot because fuck you, you fucking piece of shit. And then as soon as you hit, if you God.
Yeah, even better is there's different ranks for different rates. Well, there's different names for different ranks. Like you're on ship and you're like everyone's okay, you're a petty officer too, but like you could be a BM1 or a CS1 or like all these different like rates, and you're like, why are you guys so complicated with this stuff? And like you have to like I remember I spent like a week and a half working in the galley when I was on ship.
I'm sorry about that.
And dude, it was punishment for getting caught smoking inside the barracks before we left.
Oh.
I was so we showed up to Oki.
Again, I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but like fucking, we were on like lockdown, and they didn't change the liquor laws, so everyone was just like blackout drunk the whole time. So,
dude, so I went the first time I went to Japan. It was back in I want to say 2014. So I got to do this pretty dope like PTAD or whatever. Where so I was tracks, and back when that big tsunami hit Japan, the Marine Corps sent in amphibious assault vehicles to help with like rescuing people because you have like buildings that are also flooded, so like a boat can't get to some areas, but obviously like a wheeled vehicle can't get to other places, but then you have this fucking tracked vehicle that can drive through anything, and it's amphibious, so it can go pick up people. So Japan was like, all right, well, in case this ever happens, those things are pretty cool, and we need to flex on China a little bit more, so how about we buy some of those from you guys? So I had a couple Japanese guys actually that went through my MOS schoolhouse with me, and then shortly after I got to the fleet, there was like a couple different teams that went over to Japan to work with Japanese ground self-defense force and kind of like help them come up with training manuals and develop SOPs and show them how to like tear apart the vehicle and all that. So I got lucky enough to go on one of those teams.
That's cool.
And we were working on a Japanese base. Like there was no American barracks, there was no chow hall, so we were like living out in town in a hotel, buying our own food. Yeah, dude, it was like the creme de la creme of Marine Corps assignments. And so this was all going down during like the really really strict Japanese like Marine Corps lockdown as far as like going out. You could only have like one drink at a bona fide restaurant. Like you
And you
couldn't
had to have it.
yeah, you couldn't. You had to be back by midnight. Like it was super strict. But like I said, we were living like like I think we were a couple hours from Fuji, and that was the closest American base.
Okay.
Like we were out in like a Japanese town where there was no like this wasn't a tourist spot. There was no Americans out there. Like we would go to the mall and people would like take pictures of us because like we stood out like a sore thumb. It was crazy. So our staff sergeant, he was our highest person in charge was a staff sergeant, and he was real chill. So like we would go out until like 2 a.m. getting fucking shit housed and like completely in violation of the orders. But like
you don't get caught.
Made it back to the hotel, like dude, it was wild. One of the nights we went out, the Japanese guys, like we were out getting fucking hammered with like Japanese sergeant majors and officers, and one of the guys walked out to just like smoke a cigarette or something.
Yeah.
And then we're all wrapping up at the end of the night. It's like 2 a.m. The bar's closing, and we're heading home, and we can't find this dude. And we're drunk as fuck. And we're just like, fuck it. We're going back to the hotel. We get back to the hotel. We're outside, like hanging out. And like 30 minutes later, he rolls up and somehow, like in suburban Japan, with like no phone signal, drunk as shit, this guy figured out how to walk from the bar all the way to the hotel. Like, really, really lucky. But we were like, yeah, this had some potential like big consequences. But hey, we figured it out. But yeah, it's I mean that was mainland Japan, where it's a whole different experience than Okinawa.
Oh yeah, and Okinawa was fucking terrible. Because even when you do go out, it's like you got American Village. There's a pineapple farm, and then like if you're not into fucking either surfing or scuba diving, that's it for you.
Yeah, especially. I don't know what camp you were on, but
Hansen.
I was. Yeah, I think Hansen is. I mean, it's not up there, but it's not Schwab. Camp Schwab is like we would go to Hansen for fun. We would go to Foster for fun. Schwab is like it's like the desolate place of pain and anguish that everyone wants to stay packed away in the corner.
Yeah, like there's like nothing out there, right? Like you get the barracks, the chow hall, and like a subway.
There's an e-club and a bowling alley, and then there's a beach where if you're out there after dark, the recon dudes who are angry because they went recon and they got stuck in Japan will fight you on the beach.
Fucking Josh in the comments said Hansen is the Flint, Michigan of Okinawa.
Oh my god. Well, I don't know what that makes Schwab then. Schwab's got to be like
Ohio.
Oh yeah, fuck Schwab and fuck Ohio.
Fucking here. All right. Yeah, fucking. Ugh. No, were you East Coast or West Coast? I guess you were.
I was West Coast. I was at Pendleton.
Okay, all right.
You were West Coast too, right?
Say what?
You were West Coast too, right?
I was West Coast and East Coast and West Coast again. Like I started in Pendleton, went to Quantico, and then went back to 29 Palms, and then a lot of TAD up and down everywhere. Like I think what is it? Outside of mainland Japan, there isn't a Marine Corps installation I didn't at least put my feet down on, just because I got to travel a bunch, which was like the fucking greatest thing about being in combat camera. Was like, okay, it sucks being here. Hey, these people are going there. They need pictures. I'm not doing anything. So it's like I get out of town and it looks like I'm being proactive at the same time. When all I'm doing is going TAD and fucking drinking myself to death.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. I had a dude in my platoon at boot camp that was combat camera, and then when I went on my like little float out over in the South China Sea, he just happened to be the combat camera guy for our LF Karat, and I was like, "Yo, what's up, dude?" Like, so like a year and a half later, some dude from my boot camp platoon is taking pictures of me fucking doing amphibious raids in Indonesia and stuff. So he was able to like when we got done with the float, he like sent me all the professional pictures and everything for me to like share with my buddies. And when we were on ship, he was also the dude with like 500 gigabytes of
Porno.
diversified porn. So we were able to, once I ran out of new content, where I was like, yeah, I know this dude. He's got all the good stuff. And then I became like the porn dealer for my platoon and some of the grunts on my track. It was
and that's a weird thing. Like, you get this weird phenomenon on a ship. Not so much like on like Iraq, Afghanistan deployments, but like specifically on ship where, you know, fucking 8 or 10 dudes will sit down and like watch a porno start to finish and just criticize the fuck out of it the entire time.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Listen, she only fit 3 basketballs in her ass. I don't know if I call that high quality.
Yeah. It's living on ship is, it's one of those things where it's just, there's every day it's the exact same. You don't see land. You don't, like, you get up, you go to morning chow, you go to work, you go to lunch, you go to work again, and then either you go lift at the gym, or you watch like some random porn with your buddies, or like some random movie, and you do it over and over and over again. Which, I mean, it's kind of like being on actual deployment, but hopefully there's a little bit more excitement here and there than that.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, like, I don't know, man. Like, if you got a good like MWR officer, like, you got something going on in the fucking chow hall or the mess deck fucking every day. You know, it's like, hey, so we're gonna get some fat Navy dude to sing karaoke for you. Oh, fucking, I watched John Wick 6 times this week, so like, fucking, I got nothing to do. Let me go down there.
Yeah, it was actually pretty interesting. One time we were, so like half the platoon was in our berthing area after work one day, and we were all crowded around this laptop watching this 2-hour-long Scooby-Doo porn parody and doing the whole like full like criticizing.
Yeah, they squeezed 2 hours out of that.
Dude, it was like a full story. Like there'd be like one segment where it ends in like 2 people banging, and then all of a sudden it goes to the next part of the story, and then like 3 people are banging, and like over and over again until it's the end of the story.
But
it was a full like,
right?
Huh?
They're doing their ghost adventure hunting, right?
Yeah, it's like a full like Scooby-Doo adventure, but it's a porno.
That's great.
But this infantry staff sergeant comes in like looking for our leadership, and he sees like 16 guys crammed around a fucking laptop where Shaggy is banging fucking Velma or something. And he's like, it was really funny because this is like the last thing you expect from a guy who's been in the infantry for probably well over a decade, and he's like, "Oh, this is fucking unsat. This is fucking such a display of a poor display of leadership. I can't believe like." And we're all like, almost all of us are lance corporals, and we're like, yeah, we don't give a shit, staff sergeant. Get the fuck out of our fucking berthing area.
Yeah, fucking, I don't know. Sounds like the kind of guy that fucking, you know, went like infantry, quote unquote, fucking went MSG as soon as he could as a fucking lance corporal, came back, went to the drill field, came back, picked up staff sergeant, finally got back to the fucking fleet. Like, we had this dude, we had these 2 dudes fucking when I was in Pendleton, and it was fucking great because one of them was like complete fucking fleet dodger. Like, he got to get the first Mardiv as a staff sergeant, and that was the first time he'd been in the fleet since he was a fucking lance corporal. And we had this other dude that like fucking has never been out of the fucking fleet, but they were both from Uganda, and they were from like rival tribes, so they fucking hated each other. So we play the mommy daddy game like it was fucking cool. We'd be like, hey, listen, staff sergeant said this, and he's like, yeah, no, you need to go back to the barracks and field day. And we'd be like, why? He's like, because you need to go to the barracks and field day. I was like, all right, well,
did you say so?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, we had some NCOs like that, kind of going back to what I was saying about how you'd have those NCOs where he'd tell you what to do, and all the other corporals would be like, all right, if this guy tells you to do something, you need to come and verify with us because he's a fucking retard. Where he had gone up, like being a boot deployment and all that with them, like gone through all that with them, but he was there's some fucking airheads, and then there's this fucking guy, and let's just say he was very very inept, and it kind of reached a point where so with tracked vehicles, if you pivot them in the sand, you can get buildup of sand in between the wheels and the track, and it literally throws the track off the wheels.
Oof.
And then it's a fucking nightmare. It's like it's bad enough like actually like going through the process of breaking track to replace like bad track blocks like out on the we call it the ramp. It's like a parking lot for tracks.
Yeah.
Where you're doing it in like a controlled manner.
And for that on the beach, it almost kind of looks like a giant car wash.
Yeah. And so doing that on the beach all in one part is even worse. And so it gets even better. And this guy, in his infinite wisdom as a E4 corporal leader of Marines, decides he's not only going to pivot on the beach, but he's going to pivot while he's still in the water, like right in the surf zone, which is also a big no-no because if you want to, like when the waves are hitting the track, you want to be straight facing the beach because if you're facing sideways, that's how you get your vehicle flipped over. So he decides in the surf zone that he's going to pivot his vehicle, throw track in the surf zone, and so it's a massive debacle trying to fix this giant problem where dudes are trying to fix this in the fucking surf zone where they're getting pounded by fucking waves. So obviously by the end of it, everyone, troops, NCOs, staff, everyone is fucking pissed at this guy.
Yeah.
And our platoon sergeant goes to his fellow NCOs and is basically like, look, I'm pissed with this dude. I know you guys are really pissed at this dude because you had to fucking deal with his mistake. Not to mention he's an NCO and just made NCOs look like a fucking bunch of retards. But like, you can't whoop his ass. You can't do it. And they're like, fuck you, Gunny. All right. Next morning, Corporal Retard shows up to fucking accountability with a fucking massive black eye. And so Gunny's like, hey, motherfuckers, I'm pretty sure I told you, keep your hands off this dude. And they're like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, Gunny. None of us touched him. And one of the fucking crewmen come up and they're like, hey, so last night after we went to fucking bivouac, this we closed up the track and he was so pissed at himself he literally beat he punched himself in the face until he gave himself a black eye. Like he was so angry with himself he beat the shit out of himself. Yeah, and like you listen to that and you're like, okay, either they beat the shit out of him and they were like, you're gonna take this yourself, like you're gonna claim responsibility for this yourself. But he didn't even like do that. He didn't even address it. Like one of his boot ass crewmen who had been in the fleet for like a month had to like go tell the guy, like, yeah, he literally just started punching himself in the face. He was so angry with himself.
Oh, okay, all right. I guess that's one way to do it. That kind of reminds me though of, I think it was a John Carpenter movie, and there was this priest that got bit by either a werewolf or a vampire. I think it was a vampire. So to stop from turning into a vampire, like he'd be out in the field every morning, and as the sun came up, he'd like lash himself to like get the fucking demons out.
Yeah. Some of the people you find in the Marine Corps, it's almost like you couldn't, like, coming up with like jokes consistently. You kind of you'll take inspiration off of people you encountered and try, and sometimes you have to embellish a little bit for comedic factor. But some of the people, man, you're like, I couldn't, in my like wildest embellishments and creativity, I couldn't come up with you. Like, you are in a tier your own where I literally I couldn't come up with something so ridiculous. But at the same time, the fact that that's like almost everyone that served, pretty much everyone that served, at least knows one guy who you're like, I can't believe this is a real human being, like that was in the United States military,
Well,
where
or the
you hear
thing,
these insane stories and you're like, okay, if this was like, if I was in college and some dude told me this guy was a part of his frat, I wouldn't believe you. But he was your corporal, yeah, I can see it happening.
well, see, the thing about that though is like in the military, you get people from everywhere. It's not just like one location. Like everybody that's stationed in South or in fucking Southern California isn't from Southern California. So no matter where you go in the military, you have people from Florida there, and they act like
Florida man. I feel like some of the weirdest people you get though are those guys from like small town Midwest USA.
well, there's
You
nothing
get
else
some,
to do besides get weird. Like
yeah.
fucking like
I'm coming from a real big city in California where we always had something to do, and so I mean, like I was like, as soon as you tell someone, oh, you're from California, like yeah, you're the fag with the fucking surfboard or whatever, but the dudes from the Midwest are almost in their own category where it's they've been getting creative their whole life, and all of a sudden they're in a big city in California where there's all this stuff to do, but
new
they're still
playground.
they're still trying to hang on to their roots. We're like, dude, let's go hang out at Walmart, and you're like, I'm trying to like buy my liquor and get the fuck out. What do you mean hang out at Walmart? There's the beach right there, dude. Like,
Yeah. Well, you know, it's kind of weird though. Speaking of like stereotypical shit, like yeah, Californians in general do kind of act a certain way, but I don't know off the top of my head anybody that was in the Marines that's from California that acts like they're from California. Like they
yeah.
act like they're from fucking somewhere else, and then like all the like, hey, what's up, surfer dudes, are either from like Oregon or Oklahoma for some fucking reason. And it's like, what did you just get here and decide that like since you got stationed in California, you got to act like the fucking
You're,
like, jock bad guy in a fucking 80s high school movie? Like,
which is exactly like the California dudes that like as soon as they join, they like start rocking the cowboy hat and the fat belt buckle and cowboy boots. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty funny.
fucking
And I will say, out of the dudes that like really fucking act like where they're from, it's the dudes from Texas. Like you get to a fucking party and all of a sudden like the Texas, like some Texas specific country song comes on, some like red dirt shit comes on, and like all the fucking Texan dudes, like the white boys, the black dudes, the Hispanics, all of them all of a sudden are just like vibing together, and everyone else is kind of like, what the fuck is going on? And
well, I mean, they're from their own country, man. Like,
yeah, they really are. They're a fucking, they're cut from a different cloth.
yeah, and it's like as much as they want to say that, you know, Texas is a great nation, and then like everybody else is like, okay, yeah, Texas, whatever. It really is its own culture.
Oh yeah, there's no other state that has that like identity that Texas does. Where I think there's a lot of states that are way better than Texas, but there's not that like level of pride and identity in a lot of states, even places like California or Florida, where it's, I mean, they're definitely stronger as far as identity and pride in their where they come from, as opposed to like, I don't know. I mean, it's everywhere has people that are really proud about where they're from, but Texas is just, it's on another fucking level. It may as well be its own fucking country.
Well, on that level though, I would say that from who I've met, New Hampshire, New Hampshireans, people from New Hampshire are like that too. But like, there's like 5 people that live in that state. So,
yeah, I didn't even encounter nobody from over there.
Yeah,
I can't reference that, but that's interesting.
Yeah. But they also just made it. What is it? So like, with all the fucking like gun shit going on right now, they made it illegal to enforce federal gun laws in that state. So
there's a couple of places doing that. It's interesting times we're living in, man, where the country is, the federal government at least, is going in one direction, but it's
they're just doing a completely fucking different one. But
yeah, it's it's just wild. Trying to figure out what's going to happen next is impossible. You have so many like polarizing events happening. You have so much push in one direction from one side and so much resistance from another side. It's just fucking madness.
Yeah. And then like say like if we go back to say 2013 or back, if you would have said to me, "Hey, do you think Joe Biden's ever be the president?" I'd be like, "Yeah, well, he's the vice president, so yeah, probably at some point." You know, doesn't always happen, but it happens enough. But if you ask me, "Do you think Donald Trump's ever be president?" I'm like, "The dude from TV, no. Why the fuck would he even run?"
Dude, I the
like,
night of the election,
whatever you think about, you know, Trump's presidency is, you know, not relevant to the fucking issue. It's like that guy, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. Fuck it. Whatever. That's where we're at now.
Yeah. The night of the election, I literally like went to bed well before the results were called. Like well before Trump even started making his taking the lead in the with the electoral votes. I was like, oh, it's already said and done. We got Hillary's president. Like,
yeah, no, I thought she was gonna win. Like,
I just went to bed and woke up and like looked at my phone. I was like, you gotta be fucking shitting me.
Yeah, Facebook was really fucking interesting that day.
Oh
like,
yeah,
real fucking interesting.
Oh yeah, and that was kind of like the. I mean, social media was well established at that point.
Yeah,
but I feel like that was kind of the catalyst to what we have as far as the culture or environment of social media nowadays. And I feel like that happening in the environment we're in now would be like the fallout that was that day back then. If that happened again right now, I can't even imagine like the internet would literally like break. It would be like if Donald Trump had got one re-election. I can't even imagine like what would have happened as far as the internet.
Yeah, no, it'd have been. Well, I mean, a lot of stuff would have stayed the same as far as people's reactions went. But like, you know, with the addition to like, I guess like newer people that like, I want to say newer, younger or newer mean the same. I'm a human being. I'm not a robot or an alien. I promise. But fucking. Like, you know, they don't remember fucking 4 years ago. They don't remember 8 years ago. Fucking Obama fucking getting elected was a giant fucking deal. Like, when was that? I was in Afghanistan when he got fucking elected, so I don't know what the fuck Facebook was like, but I'd imagine fucking Facebook in 2008 was fucking lit up like that too. But it wasn't as big of an established fucking thing. Like, you didn't wake up in the morning, you go to Facebook and be like, all right, what's going on?
Well, yeah, and back in like 2008, people weren't using social media to... I mean, some people were, but most people weren't political posting on Facebook in 2008. Most people were like, hey, here's a picture of my dog. And hey, I wasn't with my friend. And people were posting like statuses back then were like, I just went to the mall, XD, XD, XD. Like,
yeah,
it was a totally different
time.
Yeah.
And then one day, this troll came up, white background, black lines, 5 words,
and everything changed. Now we have Dogecoin and Pepe, and it's madness.
Yeah, fucking. Can we address like how fucking absurd it is that there's a cryptocurrency called Dogecoin?
I mean, it is in one like. In the conventional way of thinking, yeah, it's obscene and just so far-fetched.
Just because like, it seems like nobody gives a shit anymore about fucking anything. Like, I'm sure you've seen that meme where it's like a comet coming to strike Earth, and then everyone's like, "Yeah, dude, fucking, we're just gonna meme it to death." It's like, no, that's where we're at, man.
Yeah, that's kind of like we kind of felt it with the millennial generation, where we're kind of all like, okay, I'm not suicidal, but if I died, like if I got hit by a car right now, I would not be mad.
Yeah.
And then Gen Z is like, okay, we're not only going to be like suicidal as a generation, but we're going to like completely like mock ourselves for how like dead inside we all are. Like that, the whole like outlook is just, it's kind of built this society that's embraces obscene things like a meme coin as far as like a form of currency.
Right.
So it's like, if you're like from my parents' generation looking at something, you're like, how the fuck is this taking off? But then you're like some fucking 19-year-old flossing in Walmart, and you're like, I'm gonna fucking become a millionaire tomorrow because I put $5 into an internet cryptocurrency tomorrow. Like yesterday, like this all makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, fucking. I think we're in that weird middle ground generation where fucking
Things are changing.
Yeah.
Very
And
fast.
I don't really like the old man shakes fist at clouds because, you know, I'm pretty sure that like everybody that's like mad about what the new kids are doing is just old man shakes fist at clouds. But
yeah, and whether you're right or not, you're gonna get left in the dust if you try and hang on to that stuff.
yeah, it's like I forget who it was. I think it was Plutarch. Either way, some dude that like lived in like the 1st century fucking AD, you know, wrote this like big long thing about like how, you know, this generation's a bunch of fucking, you know, list of everything that describes, you know, millennials and Gen X and fucking Gen Z dudes, and it's like, oh, the more things change, the more things stay the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and at the same time, like they stay the same, but they also change. It's weird. Watching like when you experience it for yourself, like when you show up and you're that brand new PFC and you're fucking boot and you're getting fucking your dick kicked in, and then your NCOs and senior lancers are telling you like, you don't even understand how it was for us. You think you have it rough, like we had it so much rougher. You have it so fucking easy. And then you're like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, we're doing the same shit you did. And then you become an NCO.
Or why don't you make it hard for me then?
Yeah. And then you become an NCO. And I mean, it was a little bit different, like coming out of the GWAT era where things like General Amos turned the Marine Corps on its fucking head, and hazing became totally like polarizing as far as like, if you get caught, you're basically like going to the fucking brig.
Yeah.
But
And like,
it was really fucking like, in a sense, like what I went through, what my generation went through was easier than what my seniors went through, and what our boots went through was easier than what we went through.
Yeah. And when
I was in 13 through 17.
Okay.
Like right at that transition point where everything had just like everything was winding down. Like there wasn't really, unless you got lucky, you weren't really going, but we weren't like full blown peacetime. Like the transition was beginning. The really pogue units were really feeling it, but like if you were still in an all male unit, it was still kept kind of gangster. It was a weird time to be in, where all your staff NCOs are like fucking Bronze Stars, Combat Action Ribbons. All your fucking NCOs and senior lances have been to Afghan, and then like you're getting your dick kicked in by these dudes who went and got some, and at the same time you're being told like, yeah, you're going to Oki, you're not doing anything, all while being like brought up for your entire life like this war's been going on, and your like whole mentality is like, I'm gonna go and be a part of that. It was a really, really strange fucking time.
Yeah, and even that though, like wrap it back up though. That's there's a difference between like, say, like your seniors, how they're treating you, vice your seniors as seniors, how they got, you know, treated, or however you want to wrap that together, and then just shit you had to fucking do that was circumstance to that situation, you know, like there's a difference between, yeah, like there would be a fucking not too much of a difference between like, oh hey, yeah, this isn't hazing, we're just gonna get up at 3:00 in the morning and go climb this mountain full speed with all your shit because I'm fucking bored, and like we want to go do that, but like we have like shit to do before we fucking leave next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I feel like in some sense that like kind of both sentiments are accurate where you're like, oh, you have it so much easier than I did. In some regards,
Yeah.
that's true, but at the same time, like that's also how it is for every single generation where it's 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 not like you came up and asked for it easier. You just asked for like you volunteered and you're like, whatever it is, like give it to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you wanted it easier, you wouldn't have joined the fucking Marine Corps.
Yeah, exactly.
Like even if you like join the Marine Corps and you're like admin or supply or some shit, like you wanted it harder than Army.
You went Air Force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with being in those fucking branches, but like there's an expectation of like how hard you want to get kicked in the dick.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you tell some fucking college kid like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go join the Air Force, they're like, okay, that's cool. But even if you join the Marine Corps as an admin guy, like you tell some college kid, it's like they're like, oh, I could never do that. I don't want to die. And you're like, I have an admin contract. They're like,
yeah,
but it's the Marines, dude. You're gonna get fucking killed. It's that, like, yeah. Regardless of what it is, like in reality, yeah, there's that identity or image of what it is, like to even make that decision. Yeah, it takes that like mentality to kind of like go after the extra challenge.
Right. There was a dude on my first pump. He was in the S1 section, and he lat moved fucking after, because he was in 03, stepped on a fucking like bomb or some shit, got blown into the fucking air, you know, fucking like missing one of his fucking legs. Shit, they gave him a prosthetic leg. He lat moved to admin, sent him back to fucking 2-7. But this dude was a little fucked up. I mean, granted, you know, missing
understandably,
leg, but he, you know how like back like in the fucking 2000s, fucking especially like, you know, fucking whoever was fucking fighting, they like videotape all their fucking strikes and shit. He found that video of him getting blown the fuck up, like on Live Leak or whatever the fuck it was back in the day, and he'd make everybody that came in there watch it. Hey, look, this is me. And it's like, dude, cool.
Yeah.
Can you sign this?
Yeah. Dude, I had a range coach that was like that. If you saw this dude, he was like the most stereotypical like nerd you could possibly picture. He was like scrawny. His fucking biceps were like the size of toothpicks. He had the really bad glasses. He looked like he had never in his life gotten laid. And but he put on his fucking chucks, and you're like, oh, this dude's drop some fucking bodies. And but we didn't know this at the time. He was an OG. He was just a fucking range coach that looked like he was a kind of soft spoken guy. And he was our range coach, and we're a bunch of fucking boots. And yeah, when like Funker 530 combat footage like started really picking up, they posted some video, and he was like, oh, look, my firefight video got fucking posted on Funker 530. And we're like, what are you talking about, Sergeant? And he pulls it up, and it was like some viral clip of it was like a Taliban video where they were showing themselves like ambushing this post from like a vehicle. And then it ends with all of them just getting fucking shredded, and like the camera falls over and there's like blood and shit. And you're like, and he's like, yeah, that was me in that fucking little post. I fucking killed the shit out of those dudes. And you're like, holy shit, Sergeant. Like, Jesus Christ. I thought I could whoop your ass, but like, you're a fucking straight killer, bro.
Yeah. I talked to the dude that runs Funker 530 sometimes. Fucking, he's a really fucking cool dude. But I was gonna say they had a story a couple years ago, but they posted it again recently, and it's about the dude that started Delta Force, and he straight up looks like Rick Moranis. Like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like, you know, kind of like that. Like, I'm really small and I have a hunchback because like I don't have like a spine, like big like bottle Coke glasses, and then just like fucking like he's got so many fucking like ribbons. They reach his belt on the back, and it's like that guy. Okay, all right, cool. So yeah. Don't judge a book by its cover, but okay, got it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of the, like, you look at some of the real fucking gangster dudes from like the Vietnam War, and like you see their pictures where they have their dress uniform on and they're stacked to the fucking tits, and then it's some dude that looks like he could not like pay a hooker enough to get laid, and you're like, holy fuck.
Well, I mean, there's so many dudes from Vietnam that look like fucking Justin Bieber that it's not even funny, you know?
Yeah.
Fucking beware of the squirrely guys.
Yep. I mean, maybe like living your life like that just fills you with so much hate and discontent. You have it in you to fucking really lay it down.
Yeah. Or fucking oh, hold on. That's on my mouth. But like if you go to like military museums and shit, like they'll have like the fucking like the mannequins that, you know, hold all the fucking like gear for whoever, and like sometimes they'll have, oh hey, this was actually this person's fucking gear for this, and it's like this guy got a fucking Medal of Honor for doing this. And it's like that dude, I have a toothpick that weighs more than that dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck did he do? Like fucking I'm sure you know Audie Murphy, right?
Yeah.
Like fucking dude pretty much like did some like Call of Duty shit. Fucking like holding off a fucking like tank company with a 50 cal on top of a tank that was not operable because it was on fire and everybody inside was dead. And it's like you shouldn't be allowed to do that, but
sometimes you literally have to say fuck it, I guess.
America.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what some of those people are capable of. Like when it really comes down to like brass tacks, I suppose. Some of the people you're like, damn, I didn't think this guy had it in him. Whether that's a fucking like, I mean, I can't really speak on like a firefighter or anything, but even just any type of like really stressful situation where some of these dudes you're like, oh, he's a big softy or he's fucking weak, and like shit hits the fan and fucking the dudes you wouldn't expect are just like, I got it.
Yeah, there's like a switch.
Yeah. They just go off and you're like, God damn, this dude's a savage. This dude's a fucking animal.
Yeah. Squirrely dudes. So why did you go with the term or with the name DD214 for your meme page? And were there other nicknames? Were there other contenders for what your title is going to be?
That's actually a good question. When I was first coming up with the page, the idea for the page, I'd been like making memes in like Facebook groups for a minute, and they were doing pretty well. And then I don't know if you're familiar with Mendleton, but I was pretty active in Mendleton for a while back when in its heyday,
like 2014, 15-ish, before it got shut down and then brought back up and then shut down. Then,
well, I think I joined in like 2000, like the beginning of 2015, but I was kind of low key as far as like posting on there. Like I joined back when it was a resale site. Like I like when I was like trying to go to SIF, like at its inception, Mendleton was a place to like buy and sell SIF gear, and so and then it kind of transformed into what it became. But so I guess to go even further back, like back when I was a fucking poolee and I had buddies that were in the Marine Corps, I was fucking high school kid. My buddy was telling me about like when J-Tots first started, when Pogue Boot Fucks first started, like effing Grunt, effing Wook, all those pages back in the inception era of the memes and internet, like social media content. So I had been indoctrinated since the beginning, even before I joined the Marine Corps, and followed all like Pop Smoke, Decelerate Your Life as I went through the military and all that, like Untied Status, Marrying Crops. And
I miss that guy. I miss that guy so much.
He posts like he's been posting.
Is he back?
On and off, only on the Facebook page. Like dude, and it was actually crazy. He reposted one of my memes a while back, and I was like, I fucking made it. I made it, dude. That guy's he thought something I came up with was worthy of posting. I fucking made it. But So like I said, I was kind of like I was well versed in the meme culture up until like I joined Mendleton when it was a resale page, and then it kind of transformed into like the Marine Corps, like I don't even know what to call it. Like it was just the
I mean,
hub, like the online hub.
like Marines United Light.
It was like Marines United, but instead of like nudes, it was like memes where everyone was just like going bonkers with memes and like roasting the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
And so then I got out and I started, like I said, I started posting like memes on like Facebook groups, including Mendleton. And they started popping off, and I was like, okay, maybe like I would make memes for my buddies, and they thought they were hilarious. And I was like, you know what, maybe I could start a meme page and see how it goes. And I'll tell you what, for all my creativity as far as like coming up with like jokes and music and cartoons and all this stuff, I could not for the life of me come up with a good name for my page. And I was like trying so hard to come up with a fucking like a page name, and I
Yeah.
was just like, I got nothing. And then like I looked up DD214 memes and it didn't exist, and I was like, well, I mean that kind of like encapsulates the direction I'm trying to go. So like, fuck it, I'll take it. There wasn't a whole lot of like conviction in there or like anything like that. Like it's just like it was available, and I couldn't come up with anything better. And then along the way, I've kind of like thought about like rebranding and like trying to come up with something uh, a little bit like more, I don't know, like with more identity or more like personality. But I don't know. It's at this point, it's kind of like stuck. So we'll see. Maybe someday I'll rebrand. Maybe not. But I don't know. It just kind of it was available. It hadn't been done before, so I was like, everyone knows what a DD214 is, and everyone knows what memes are. So fuck it, that works for me.
No, not fucking like that. It's familiar and it fucking gets people in. Well, that and like it's what's the word I'm looking for? Not facetious. But I'm gonna go with facetious anyway because I can't think of what the other fucking word is. But like the page almost sells itself with that name alone because it's like DD14 memes.
Yeah, it's
I bet this
universal.
guy's an asshole. Follow.
It's universal.
I mean, because
Yeah.
like for years you would have that fucking like meme that people posted in like every fucking comment section where it was, I think it was it Michael Lee Rooker, and he's in the back of a fucking limo, like, you know, drinking a fucking out of a flask, like zombies are like outside. He's like, thank God I got my DD214. And it's like, that was like the meme for years, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'd like been like every time when I was like in the military, and I'd see like Pop Smoke post a meme about getting your DD214, or like there was that one where it was I don't remember what movie it's from, but it's like when your command asks if you're re-enlisting, and he's like, no, 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 no. And he's just like nonstop saying like no over and over again, like
Yeah.
screaming in the fucking car. Like all those memes were like for the longest time, like those were the ones that like everyone went fucking bonkers for. So it just kind of like the name itself, yeah, simple, but it speaks to everyone. It's,
You know, I can't remember what movie it's from, but like they were the main characters were like trying to fucking think of their band name, and they're like, well, we need something successful. It's like, well, how about the Led Zeppelins? Like Led Zeppelin's successful. We'll just put a the in front of it. We'll be the Led Zeppelins. And then they ended up not doing that. But I need to look that movie up.
but
Yeah, no, there's a lot that goes into a name. Like I thought I would get further than I would with the name Smokepit Fairy Tales. Like not so much like the book wise, but like when it was when I had it as a meme page before I decided, you know, take the fucking turn to fucking also, you know, market book shit on it. But I am shit at making memes. So, and then like I made like, I want to say like I've made 5 good ones, and then Pop Smoke stole all of them, slapped their fucking logo on it, and it's like, what, that was me. But you know,
meme making is kind of like any other art form, really, because I mean it's almost like a really short one liner from stand up, and it's one of those things where as you practice it, you get better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like it's weird when I look at some of the first stuff I made, and I look at some of the stuff I can make now, and it's in a whole different dimension as far as like the jokes and like picking the right template and all that sort of thing. Like as you do it over and over again, I as you do it over and over again, you get better if you pay attention to yourself, because there's some people who you watch do it repeatedly over and over again where they kind of like plateau
And then
they
beat
kind of
that
like,
horse.
yeah. And then there's some people who are like they start off a little bit slow, and then they like kind of experiment a little bit and go this way and that way, and then all of a sudden they just start fucking coming out with heat, and then they're like, oh, this is working, and then they just keep heating up and fucking bringing it to the next level. And that's kind of how it was like for me with cartoons. My first one was like, dude, the animation was so bad, and it's still up on my page. It's like some Tim Kennedy fucking cartoon where he's at like a fucking McDonald's and like trying to make the fucking cashier call him a sheepdog, and and the fucking cashier's like, what the fuck, dude? Like the joke itself was kind of funny, especially because at the time everyone was kind of fucking dogging on Tim Kennedy for being like the gung-ho sheepdog guy. But
Well, I mean, like the thing about Tim Kennedy though is like I got to give it to him because like he's not backing down from that. Like he's him,
yeah, it's not like it's not a.
I don't think he's
putting
doing
on a show. Yeah, that's really who the dude is.
Yeah,
Full
like I'm not gonna talk shit because like I don't want to fight the guy.
Yeah, he'd fucking tear me in half.
I don't think he would show up naked and just like own me. But like
it's a possibility. It's a possibility for sure.
Not a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah, but like, and then my next one, my next cartoon, like it was much better artistically, but it still was pretty bad. And just doing it over and over again, and then like wanting to get better, watching YouTube videos on how to draw stuff and using different apps and getting better and better. And that's how it is with memes. If you're able to like objectively like look at your stuff and be like, okay, here's where I'm falling short and here's where I'm nailing it, and then kind of go from there. With memes, it's pretty easy, especially with all the insights and like data that social media will give you on your page, trying to see like what really pops off and what doesn't. But at the same time, I feel like some people really chase those numbers, and like when something pops off, they try and like duplicate it and make it happen over and over again. But usually the stuff that really goes off is the stuff it's like brand new, it's fresh. People want new stuff, and so trying to recycle something or duplicate something, people get tired of the same thing really quick. So it's like people get stuck in a rut where they're trying to like make that one post or one idea like their whole strategy going forward. And it's like you kind of just got to keep feeling stuff out. Some stuff is really gonna resonate, and some stuff is just gonna it's gonna miss. But
so do you follow Psy Operator?
Yeah.
Fucking I would say he's kind of like that, but I also I think I have no idea who the fuck it is. But I think it's working for them. The only thing I know about them is that they weren't at that unit when I was. They were after me because like I've texted them a little bit. It's like, oh hey, was that meme about this dude? Because that meme seems obviously specific about this one guy. He's like, no, never met him. Heard stories though, could apply, but he only makes fun of fucking the Marine Corps IO fucking center, and like he's not a big page. But every fucking meme, not everyone, 9 out of 10 of them are just fucking like, yep, so nothing's fucking changed. That's fucking great. You're fucking putting that shit out. Like, I hope that your unit's hunting you. Not enough fucking like, I don't hope they get you. I hope they're wasting resources on trying to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Whoever that is, fucking like brilliant. And like, I don't think they're going to get huge because they're only making fun of like one unit. And that's like a really oddly specific fucking like, unit they're going for. And for people listening at home who don't know, what is it? The Marine Corps IO Center is like the PSYOPs fucking hub, and there's like maybe 200 fucking people there. So he's making in jokes about a extremely small fucking community, but
what's great is his page has well over 200 followers.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not big, but yeah, it's definitely interesting with how, like, if you look between like 2016 and now, the amount of meme pages and like internet pages in general has like, especially in like the last year, it's exploded. It's like there were like 6 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now there's like a million.
Well, I miss them too. Like fucking like Effin' Boot used to be my fucking jam. I don't think those guys are around anymore.
Oh yeah.
Are they? Are they?
I don't think they are either, but I remember them. But
yeah. And then like was it J Tots and fucking Effin' Pogue? Like they were fucking great, and I think they're still around, but they're nowhere. They're not on the throne anymore.
Yeah. J Tots and Pogue Boot Fucks both they're around, but they kind of they're indistinguishable from what they were back when they blew up.
Yeah, because when they were just like dicks, and it was great. You know? And then like now it's like
it was like just boots being stupid ass fucking boots, and then you'd like wake up one morning, you're like, oh dude, Smith is on fucking J Tots. He got fucking posted for having a fucking barracks cut high and tight with his fucking running jacket on. What a fucking loser! And then
I used to threaten my Marines with that. I was like, hey, listen, because like I'm the kind of guy where it was like when I would go do shit in fucking high school, like my dad would be like, hey, listen, don't do anything stupid. And if you do, don't get caught. Yeah. So like my leadership style, my fucking junior Marines, fucking when I ended up getting them was like, here's the deal. I don't want to do paperwork. If I don't know about fucking anything you did, then I can't do paperwork. But if you make me do paperwork, I'm gonna do fucking paperwork. So don't do anything stupid. And if you do, don't let me find out about it. And if you do, before I fucking start jotting shit down, I'm gonna put you on fucking J-Tots.
Yeah. It was like I said, I was privy to all that when I was still in high school as a fucking poolie, and I had the cognizance to like kind of lay low because I was like, I need to know my fucking place. I'm not gonna be like up here trying to fucking say anything because I don't know nothing, but I'm just gonna observe and try and learn what I can.
Yeah.
And so I went to fucking boot camp like a little bit ahead of the curve as far as the culture, I suppose, as opposed to some dude who just like walked into a recruiter's office, signed up, and was at boot camp a month later or whatever. And then like when I got to like MCT and like my MOS schoolhouse and was a fucking boot, like I was really like privy to all like, oh, look at these fucking kids in Oceanside walking around with their fucking day pack and their fucking McMap belt, and all like my peers are totally like they're all doing this stuff, and I'm like, you fucking boots, fucking boots.
I will argue that though, because like yes, what you're saying is absolutely true. However, what I used to do, like I want to say after my fucking like second fucking deployment, was I would like go out in town with like tight ass fucking jeans on with my combat boots and like a red shirt that said 1776 on it. And I would get laid every fucking weekend because some fat chick wanted fucking Tricare. They'd be like, listen, look, if I find some fucking gym before this, that's fucking great. If not, I ain't going to be fucking picky. And if I was looking for something good, I'd go to fucking San Diego or Encinitas. But if I hit Oceanside, I dressed like a fucking boot and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, the chicks there's not really any other reason to be in Oceanside if you're a fucking civilian female. There's really no other draw to Oceanside, California.
Yeah. I hear though that they're fucking trying to like upscale the fucking place. Like they're building fucking apartments and shit and like condos like down by like where the movie theater and the Pier View is. But
oh yeah.
But I haven't fucking been there in 5 years, so
I went down there last summer. Yeah, I was in. So when I did the worst chain of command tournament in the Marine Corps,
which was great, by the way.
Yeah, which was a total accident, but it was beautiful. It was magnificent.
Although I did look at one fucking video a couple of weeks ago. I think I saw it was the sergeant major reacting to winning the best fucking unit in the fucking Marine Corps.
Dude, that was
so
oh my
great.
god, amazing. It's
I was like, yes,
so
somebody actually gives a shit.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know how to put into words. Like when I started my meme page, I thought like, okay, if I could get 1,000 followers on my meme page, that'd be pretty fucking tight. That'd be like
50,000 ish,
somewhere around there. Yeah,
like yeah,
it's way bigger than
in the military memes community.
Yeah, it's insanity. I still can't really, because I'm just a fucking, I'm not a fucking salt dog. I'm not a fucking anything special. I'm just a regular dude. So it really blows my mind that it's become as big as it is. But so like I said, when I first started, I didn't think it was gonna become big or anything. Like I thought like, okay, maybe I can make a couple people laugh with my stupid jokes about wanting to kill yourself and jerking off and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then when it kind of reached that point, like I was like, holy shit, like we're like this is, it wasn't it wasn't even a thought that it could reach this point. And now that it has, I'm like, I don't even know, like I'm Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my fucking hands. Like
if you
what do I do?
Red, fuck
and
you.
then I kind of just like in one sense, it kind of like you follow it. Like I was doing the hardest partying unit in the Marine Corps tournament,
which people got nuts for that.
Dude, people went fucking insane. That was the point where I realized like this is actually something. This is like
I might have a little bit too much power than I'm.
Yeah, when the final hit and there were like there was a battalion part, like 3-5 and 1-7 were in the finals, and both units that night like had massive battalion level parties where they were like slamming dudes into fucking folding tables and like sending in videos of them like shotgunning beers and be like fuck 3-5 or like fuck 1-7 and shit like that. Like I was like, dude, this is insanity. Like I've created a community where like people in real life are looking at what I'm doing on the internet and like it translates to real life. And then it kind of like with the reaction of the fifth reg XO to that like battalion level party, like breaking it up, it kind of rolled right into the worst chain of command in the Marine Corps tournament, which was never planned, but then it just kind of organically, like that's how it progressed. And then all of a sudden I'm down in fucking, I'm in California anyways. I'm on a road trip in California back to like visiting friends and stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm already here. The unit that like won the fucking tournament is my old fucking unit in California. Like I'm leaving California. Like I have time. Yeah. So I drove down there and stopped by and fucking dropped off some care packages with like some booze and smokes and suction cup dildos and
nice
some resources on how to contact your representatives when you have abusive commands and stuff like that. And it was just so wild to me, like going from, like I said, jokes about jerking off and like wanting to kill yourself to like, dude, I'm like, I'm down here giving care packages to fucking people who sent in like stories of how their commands fucking them over. And it's just like so big. It's mind blowing to me. I don't know.
Now,
it's crazy.
Does this happen to you? Because one of the things that I come into is like, you know, like people will fucking be like, oh, dude, oh my god, your books are so fucking great, they're awesome, blah, whatever. I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, I'm cool. And then I go down this spiral of like extreme imposter syndrome shit, and it's like, I don't understand why people fucking like this, but I'm glad you do. But
yeah, I feel that for sure. Where people are like, especially like anytime I'm on some type of tirade where I'm going after a command or something like that, where I don't know, there's just some sort of like reputation that like my page has where there are genuinely like more than a few people who are like have hit me up and be like, oh my god, you're a fucking god, holy shit, you're like you're this almighty fucking exalted fucking person in the community. And I'm just like,
call me the Sultan.
dude, I'm like when I was in the Marine Corps, I was just a fucking pogue ass boot. Like I'm like, I don't know. I don't try and I try and separate whatever the page is doing for myself, because like me as a person, I'm just a regular fucking dude.
Well, you also don't put your face on the page either, so I mean
I do here and there, but yeah, it's not really like about me at all. It's literally just the whole I have two like purposes behind the whole page. I'm trying to entertain the guys that are still stuck on active duty and hate their lives, and I'm trying to provide for everyone that's out, I want to provide that like connection to the military humor that people miss, because I know like as soon as I got out, that was like the biggest thing I missed, where I moved somewhere where it wasn't a military town. Most of the people that I like went to school with weren't veterans. My social circle was almost all civilians, and I was like, you crack some off color joke that's like pretty rough for people who aren't in the community, and they're like, either they don't get it or they're just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And you're like, bruh, I just really miss like joking about blowing my own brains out with my buddies and everyone laughing their asses off. I really miss like joking about how like I banged fucking staff sergeant's wife, or like the stuff that like we have in our own little world. So that's like,
which is not conducive to culture at large.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a whole different world, and so that's the whole like purpose behind what I do is I just want to provide to my best ability that for the people in that community.
Yeah.
And so like seeing the progression as far as like where it's gone and how people like view me just for running the page, it's like, I'm on the one hand, I'm like, dude, this is really cool that it's become what it has, because I've accomplished kind of the goal where I'm able to make content and come up with ideas and do things that people really enjoy. And so like in that sense, it's awesome. But then it's like, it's really fucking weird. Like I said, when people are like coming to be like, oh my God, you're so amazing. Like you're this and that. I'm like, well, I mean, I think my jokes are all right, but like, I'm kind of fucking, I don't know. I'm just a dude. Like anyone that fucking, like I'll have people hit me up or like reply to my story, and then I'll like reply. Like I reply to pretty much everyone that ever messages my page.
Yeah.
And people will be like, oh my God, I can't believe you responded. I'm like, I know this is like, like an internet page that's kind of big or whatever, but like at the end of the day, I'm just a dude.
Yeah.
There's a reason that these jokes are relatable. Like I'm one of y'all.
Yeah.
I'm like, it could be you that's doing this. It could be your buddy that's doing this. Like I'm not really, maybe I figured out some type of structure or course of action that's led me to like how big this has become, but fundamentally like we're all the same. That's why it is so big, because if it's just me, there's only one person following the page. But because all of this is like a shared experience and a shared sense of humor and like stuff that we can look at, like a joke I make and people can identify with that. That's why it is what it is. It's not because of me. It's because of everyone being a part of it.
Yeah. I mean that, and I think another big part of it too, though, is like, especially with, well, I don't know what it's like now. But when I was getting out, they were cracking down hard on what people did on social media, and they can't say that shit themselves because the wrong person fucking sees it, and there goes fucking your fucking career pretty much.
But if someone who's out posts it, and you can be like, yes, I want to post that, but he fucking got it for me. He got it.
Yeah. Which is kind of a bullshit fucking thing. Like not that, but like just the way it's fucking set up now, it's where like fucking, well, once again, I don't know now, but like when I was getting out, fucking fucking you get like one fucking page 11, and that makes you not fucking compatible, and that's you're fucking
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
even if you wanted to stay in, fuck you, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that was kind of how it was when I got out too. Like any type of paperwork, unless you were already a staff NCO, you were done. But I don't know. It seems, from what I can tell, it seems like that's only gotten worse to where it's like, I don't know. It's a weird time to be in the military. I mean, like the end of the GWAT was weird, and we could all kind of like see it was headed in a bad direction for the most part.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was all speculation, but it really seems like it's kind of gone down that path where, like, I couldn't imagine being in right now. I would just be like going mad with how the stuff that they harp on and the stuff that they prioritize is so nonsensical, and it doesn't matter, and they make such a massive deal out of some of this stuff, and then some of the stuff where you're like,
the thing about that though is like I kind of wonder what effect a lot of that has for like what we're seeing, because like, you know, we're not there, right? Like we're only seeing what we see on fucking Facebook or what fucking people tell us. But like say even with fuck, what was that thing they were doing earlier this year, fucking, where like Biden reinstituted like everybody had to go through like mandatory fucking like anti
extremism training.
Yeah, that if like, granted, there was a lot of kickback about that just because it's like, oh yeah, you're wasting your time or whatever. But it's like, yeah, dude, but like, if it wasn't that, you'd be in a fucking at the base theater learning how not to speed or how not to beat your wife or how not to fucking do drugs. And if you weren't doing that, you'd be mopping anyway. So like, yeah, that's something to complain about, I guess, because I mean, like, if you're not complaining when you're talking about the military, you know something fucking wrong, I think. But at the same time, though, like what I wonder what the actual fucking metric for that is, and I don't think it's really too much more than what it was before, at least on that level, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Because like I remember like fucking like literally being in the base theater for 4 hours, pretty much
how to not rape someone.
Yeah. And it's like, well, I know how to not rape people. It's not hard.
Yeah. And I think, at that like baseline level, it's kind of universal where you're getting like what I tell people when they ask me what the military was like, I tell them like 15% of it is like the most badass stuff you can imagine, like shooting machine guns with your buddies and blowing shit up, and you know, fucking chicks in the barracks and partying your dick off. And like 85% of it is like being a janitor and being told like, this is how you don't rape someone and this is how you don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
And having a fucking sergeant make sure that you fucking mark your cami blouse and trousers. So yeah, like on like the topics might change a bit, but yeah, on that universal level, there's just that dumb shit that everyone has to put up with.
Yeah. And one of the things is I've tried to Google that, and I don't know if I can't find the right thing to type into Google to get the answer, or if the research just isn't fucking there. But like, I want to know how far back that shit goes. And I'm going to lean more on the research just isn't fucking there, because like I've got down the rabbit hole just trying to figure out like what Marines did for morning PT while they were doing workup training to go to fucking World War II. And like that shit is not on the fucking internet. It's like, oh yeah, they'd go on a run and like do push-ups and sit-ups. Like, yeah, but like, what do they actually fucking do? You know?
Yeah. Are they fucking drunk as fuck, puking on mile fucking 2 because they drank until 5 a.m. on a Tuesday?
Yeah. But like, I would be very interested to know fucking what level, or if the level of bullshit that was there, like when we were in, if that's been consistent, or if that got higher, or if that got lower. But I don't think the research is there for it.
It seems to me like speaking to some of the like, because there's plenty of guys that follow my page that I interact with pretty regularly that are either retired or like they're up there as far as like officers and staff NCOs that have been in for like almost the entirety of the GWAT, that the sentiment has kind of been like back in their day when they were still shining with their fucking boots and shit. Like a lot of that type of thing wasn't as prevalent because there were so many other priorities that were like, okay, we need to make sure like I don't die on this deployment.
Yeah.
And that was where the focus was. And then as the GWAT kind of deteriorated and wound down and then reached like the drop off point, those priorities kind of crossed over to where the stuff about like, okay, how do you not die became less prevalent than, okay, let's do our 16th mandatory training on how to not beat our wife.
Right, but if you take it a little bit further than that back, I knew a guy that was in the fucking early 90s, and at one point he was telling me that he kept his cover on when he came inside, and then his sergeant made him chew out his cover for an hour for staying on his head while he was inside. So
yeah, you hear some of that
waves, but
yeah. But then you also think like some of the stuff that like they were doing in the peacetime period in the 90s, like you would never get away with some of that stuff nowadays too. You like I had a kid, I can't believe this. I had a kid message me this week that said he got battalion level NJP'd and his buddies in the brig because they made some fucking boots right out the rank structure a bunch of times, and that was considered hazing.
What?
Yeah.
There's a guy in the brig for that?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We're reaching, and I like, I don't know. It's very radical, but at the same time it's believable. Like seeing some of the stuff that I saw, like, so one of my only buddies that reenlisted out of all of us, right after he reenlisted, one of the guys in his platoon picked up corporal, and this is in like 2000. I think this was in 2017 when this happened. So the kid picked up corporal. By that time, like hazing is a big no-no. You can't do hazing, and it was kind of like that was right at the beginning of the female integration. So like I was at an all-male unit up until like the last like 2 months before I got out, where the females started coming. And so we still kept it like those mandates and directives had kind of been rolled out for a while, but we still kept it kind of gangster because it was all dudes and no one gave a shit. So it was like you said, it's like, you know, keep it gangster, but like don't let leadership find out about it, because if they do, you're fucked. But like, you know,
and at that point they kind of have to just save their ass.
Yeah. So this guy picks up corporal, and he's about it. He actually asks to be blood striped, and so my buddy's in on it, and they fucking blood stripe the shit out of this dude. And then later, this fucking sissy ass bitch is at a party, and some fucking, for some reason this guy was a corporal and he was at a party with a staff sergeant, and he's talking to the staff sergeant, and the topic of getting blood striped comes up, and he like drops some fucking names about who fucking blood striped him, and the staff sergeant like goes up the fucking chain of command, and my buddy literally got sent to the brig and kicked out of the Marine Corps because he blood striped this dude.
That's fucked up.
It is, dude. It's insanity. Like, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, I can think of like 4 dudes in my peer group, like my close peer group, that were willing to reenlist out of like over 100 of us. And then you're gonna fucking burn the shit out of like 1 of 4 that's actually willing to stick around and try and make this a better place because he did something that's tradition. Like,
well, that, and like the dude asked for it.
Yeah, that too. And so now I'm looking at stuff where it's like, dude, people are getting burned for like making their fucking kids write fucking rank structure. Like,
yeah, no. So like I came in like 06, and then like we all fucking all the way up to fucking sergeant, you know, fucking looked like we got attacked by fucking rattlesnakes, you know. But there was one dude, it his last name's fucking Riddle, but he got like pads and like taped them to his like chest beforehand,
trying to avoid that fucking pain.
Yeah, and until he picked up Corporal, he was never referred to Lance or as Lance Corporal. He was just E3 Riddle, never Lance Corporal, E3.
Yeah.
God, dude, that part of it is a fucking weird change.
Yeah, because
yeah, if we want to complain about like what we're fucking hearing in the base theater, that's gonna be a waste of time no matter what the fucking subject is. But that kind of shit though, it's like I'm not. I know that we're making this big shift for what we're doing with China, but I'm not too confident about how that's gonna roll.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of a product of social media where stuff gets really vilified and people go after like everything is very black and white, even though it's actually somewhere in the middle. And so like you see one dude get fucking hazed and it's a really bad incident, and everyone's like, oh, we need to fucking, this was actually fucked up. We need to stop this. So let's push some sweeping mandate to make sure this never happens again. But like I said, like everyone looks at a lot of, not everyone, but most people look at a lot of things in like this black and white type of view where everyone's on one side and there's just constant infighting between the two sides. And even though the answer or solution is somewhere in the middle, we dig our heels until one side wins and one side loses. And it's, we lose the rewards of what the solution in the middle is, where inevitably when that next wave comes where we go to war again and we need dudes who are ready to go do some savage fucking shit to some other human beings in another part of the world or maybe at home, like we need to have people who are fucking not just like trained how to fucking hit it a target with their fucking M4, but they have that fucking mental fortitude to like watch people's fucking brains get blown out, watch fucking fucked up shit happen.
Yeah, and like what you said about it being over here, that's a thing, because like World War III might be over here, because no, I don't know. This is just fucking speculation, but I would imagine the first thing that's going to happen in World War III is us and either the Russians or the Chinese are going to shoot each other's satellites down, and then nothing's going to happen for 6 months until either we show up in fucking Taiwan or they show up in fucking California.
Yeah, it's try not to put my tinfoil hat on too much, but like it's with all the information that's out there, like it's just really it does seem like something is impending, like whether that's going to be like someone shooting out someone else's satellites or China being like, hey, fuck you, we're going to stop shipping you guys, all the stuff we manufacture.
Yeah.
And it's going to hurt us economically, but all of a sudden, like 97% of our antibiotics are gone. All of our clothes and shoes and phones are gone. Like all of the data that they've harvested from us, they're going to start abusing. Like there's a lot of like worrisome factors where it's like, we have no idea what's going to happen next.
Is like people like to say that America and China won't go to war because our economies are so fucking intertwined. But in 1914, England and Germany had the world's two largest economies, and they were each other's largest customers. So like, not only can it happen, but
it has.
Yeah.
And and that's just China and the US. Then we're looking at what's happening with Ukraine and Russia right now, where it's like, it doesn't look good over there either.
Yeah, do you know what's weird about that though? Is like nobody's fucking talking about that. Like there's, as per like the terms of like what you categorize wars as, there is a major war going on in fucking Ukraine. Nobody fucking talks about it. Like fucking thousands of fucking people are dying every fucking year, and just like media blackout, and which is weird because we're trying to paint Russia as these fucking bad guys that are doing all this shit, and it's like, well, if these bad guys are doing all this shit, why isn't what they're doing in fucking Ukraine in the fucking news?
Yeah. Same with China. We're like, oh look, all these companies like Nike and Apple and American Apparel, a lot of the places that they manufacture, they get their stuff manufactured at, we literally have concentration camps where millions of Muslims are rounded up and forced to be re-educated in China right now. And like, yeah, same thing. No one is talking about it. We're worried about like which picture of Kim Kardashian's asshole is getting leaked to fucking Twitter, or fucking what
or
some
like
fucking
some
actor
weird
like
niche
tweeted.
thing that like only like 10% of Americans actually give a fuck about at all, but like
what some fucking film producer like tweeted in
yeah.
like 2014 or something that is considered hate speech nowadays.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's craziness. And that's why it's like it's so hard to, I mean, it's almost like now if you talk about some of the stuff, like there could be something happening between the US and Russia, or there could be something that happens between Russia and Ukraine, or there could be something happening with like this China and US type thing. It's almost like, what do you mean you're not talking about the fucking boat stuck in the Suez Canal? What do you mean you're not talking about the new fucking Disney Plus show? That's what we care about today. Why aren't you talking about that? Why are you trying to talk about some other stuff?
Well, that, and like even just like what's going on in the fucking cyber spectrum, like fucking what us are doing to China and Russia, and what China and Russia are doing to us, and what China and Russia are doing to each other. If that was anything else that wasn't just shit on the internet, those would all be considered acts of war.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure that the Pentagon's taking that seriously, but nobody else gives a fuck. And it's like, dude, like what they did was almost as bad as fucking sinking a fucking ship, like economically speaking. And then like he might come back and say, well, you know, that's economics. But yeah, dude, like fucking at the end of the day, you're not fighting for the fucking Constitution. You're fighting for the fucking economy. Like that's what war is about. It's about fucking resources and securing them. This is a big deal.
Oh yeah. And I think it's social media has made our attention spans like so short, where like we're just whatever like the most interesting headline that will like can be compacted into 10 words or less is what fucking rules the day.
Yeah.
Like when we saw Texas shut down because of the grid failure, like that should be a very, like people in the energy sector have been saying this for years. Our grid is very outdated. It's very at risk. It's something that people in that community have been saying, and it didn't really get a lot of attention. All of a sudden, oh look, people are fucking killing themselves by running their cars in their garages because they're so cold. People have been out of power statewide for like days at a time while they're freezing. And then now that it's over, like everyone's forgot about it. We're not worried about like when the next thing is going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's like, people think that's just Texas because they have their own power grid. No, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
If you take a little bit of time and like people, like I said, people who are in that community, like I was in the power generation field for a bit, and like looking at substations and how critical they are to like a city sustaining itself, and how easy it is to take those things down. Like it's insane. Like it should be a much bigger issue, but it's not a big flashy headline, so no one gives a shit about it.
Yeah, well, the other thing too, though, like especially with the fucking Texas thing, to go back to like fucking, you know, first shots of World War III being shooting down satellites, like us and China, we can turn each other's fucking power off by fucking like hacking into their fucking like thing and turning the 1 on to the 0 fucking off. And like you don't think that's like a big fucking deal, but that would be a fucking huge fucking thing. Like what is it? I think it was in 2016 or 17, I think. Russia turned, I think, Lithuania's internet off for a day, and it fucking like sent them into a fucking recession for like 2 years.
Yeah, people don't think about like we've. It's interesting how the pandemic is kind of like challenged people so hard, and we look at it as like this massive obstacle, when in reality, like things are still very, very, very good.
Yeah.
They're very good. Even at the like the worst point of the pandemic, things were very, very good. We had it. Like we have Netflix, we have fucking DoorDash, we have fucking YouTube, we have fucking electricity, running water, all these things. Like the
Most
pandemic
everybody's
didn't
like
take,
going to
yeah,
work online. Like you still go to the fucking grocery
yeah,
store.
yeah. Oh no, my fucking Amazon order is a day or two late. Meanwhile, like
Yeah.
10 years ago, it took 2 weeks to get anything shipped out. Like, can you imagine if everything took 2 weeks to get shipped out nowadays? People would go fucking mad.
Yeah.
But the the proactive like mentality just it doesn't really exist for most people because we've grown so accustomed to the comforts we've been provided for so long because things have been good for so fucking long.
Yeah.
There's like you can present people with all the evidence that tells them that they should be concerned about this, that, this or that, this, that, whatever. But at the end of the day, like it's really impossible to make someone care about anything. You can't make anyone care, and that's what you really have to do. I mean,
Yeah.
you can influence someone to care,
But
you
even then,
can't
it
force
has to
someone to.
directly relate to them
Yeah,
for somebody to give a shit.
yeah, and we haven't found a way to. The people who are privy to this type of stuff, we haven't found a way to do that effectively. People are just too focused on their fucking the newest episode of whatever's out on Hulu or um, hopping on board with the daily drama, and that's more interesting than creating a plan to how to feed yourself if the power goes out for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a fucking thing. And like 2 weeks isn't an unreasonable fucking scenario either. Like, I mean, like it might be a little hyperbole to say, hey, listen, the fucking everything's shutting down forever. Like that's probably not going to happen. Might, probably not. However, losing power for like 2 weeks or a month, that's within the realm of possibility. Like
Absolutely.
it's unlikely, but it's not like outright fucking impossible. It's not even really improbable.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like this. I don't remember what the saying is, but something like "sweat tomorrow, so you or sweat today, so you don't bleed tomorrow."
Yep.
Like, I mean, putting in the effort and the financial resources and the time to kind of prepare, it's less preferable than hanging out in bed and fucking watching Netflix or YouTube while you eat your fucking fast food meal or whatever. But when if we do get to that point, you're gonna wish that every fucking day you had done at least something,
Yeah.
And I don't know. I hope that that doesn't end up being the situation, but it's like every day there's something new that's like so. It's like out of a fucking movie where you're like, this can't be happening, and then the next day you're like, yesterday's news is nothing. Look what's happening now, and then it just keeps going and going and going. It's like we are in for something. Who knows what it is, but we're in for it.
Yeah, and that doesn't even have to be like an us thing. Like, yeah, we could talk about, China and Russia all we fucking want, but like the sun does something wrong one day and the power goes
Yeah.
out forever.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or if there's some madman that decides that he's had enough with his job at the grid and he decides to fucking blow up a a transformer at his fucking substation, and then all of a sudden like this area is out of power for a day or 2 days or 3 days while they're getting a new transmission or transformer. Like there's so many possibilities that like.
Yeah. Or like
It's
COVID 2021 shows up and like people literally are just dying in the fucking street,
yeah.
Yeah.
Or the political unrest with like these extremist groups or whatever you want to call them, like Antifa and the far right, their situation escalates to another level where it's like what we've been seeing in the last couple of years is nothing compared to what they do next. Like, there's just so many possibilities where it's like it's I mean, right now, like I said, things are really good right now, but
yeah,
you want to be prepared in case shit does get crazy, because who knows.
it's better to be prepared and not need to know it than need to know it and
Not be prepared.
Yeah. But anyway, on that, I follow you on DD214 Memes on Instagram, but where else can people follow you or find you? And do you have anything else in the works that maybe you want to give us hints at?
Oh yeah. I have a Facebook page. I don't really post there too often anymore, here and there. I just don't use Facebook that much. So I do have a YouTube channel where I got some stuff.
And what's the YouTube channel?
DD214 Memes.
Okay.
Probably not anything coming on YouTube anytime soon. We'll see. I'm also I have some music on Spotify and Apple Music under DD214 Memes. And I have some stuff in the works there. It's been a while since I put out some music. I have some new fresh stuff that I've been kind of brainstorming. So possibly
I think I'm privy to a little bit of that.
Yeah. I've got some new inspirations that I'm exploring. So we'll see if that pans out. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and like Spotify / Apple Music.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Fucking great talking to you. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a great time, dude.
All right. Well, see you around.
Yeah.